Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, Conrad, oh, Scott, are you there? Scott, I made it live. Now you should be able to talk. Can you hear me?
Okay,
All right,
I'm
good.
unmuted now.
All right, I hung up my phone. Now I'm going to try to give you change presenter.
Okay.
If I could do this. Well, it may not let me. Crap.
Let's see.
It's not letting me change presenter.
I don't see anything that shows who's in the meeting.
Go down to where it says on your screen. Do you see the attendees on the side?
No.
Okay, look at. Can you see my screen
Yeah.
over here on the side? See this Kate Alvarez and Scott Hendricks down here.
No, I don't see
You
that.
don't see that sign? Oh, okay. Why can't you? Oh,
I don't know.
oh.
Normally I can.
Wait a minute. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Yeah, I got your screen.
But can you see these things on the side? The menu on the side?
No,
Oh, okay. Interesting.
can't see that.
Well, webinar doesn't like us, so I can give you the. I can give you the. I can't give control of the keyboard and mouse available on presenter. But there's a qualified attendee, so it's not gonna let me do anything. Okay, well I'll just figure out how to do it. It's okay. I'll figure
Okay.
out how to do it.
So are you gonna be there at 3 or do you want me to just start the thing?
I may have to step away, but I don't know what to do. I wonder if I can make you an let's see. I don't think it'll let me do anything. Let me see.
See, it doesn't show me on the, well, let's see. There it is. Okay, now I'm there.
I fixed it so you could. I just looked at that. It let me do that.
Okay, good.
But it's not letting me. And it actually has it set up for people can't talk, but I just took that off. So I'll just unmute everyone. I'm just trying to figure out why I can't let you pass this to you.
Who is Kate Alvarez? Is that you? Your computer?
No, I think she's from a club that's dialing in.
Oh, okay.
That's not helping. It's okay. I'll just kind of I'll just do the best I can do. Is what I'm going to do.
Well, I mean, I'll be glad.
I know it's not you. It's me. I just don't know why it's not.
They hand it off to me though.
I use this so seldom. It's really not even funny. But
yeah.
If I had known we were only going to have 12 people, I would have used GoToMeeting.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Okay. This is good. So how many people are we going to have?
It looks like only 12 have registered, according to what I saw a minute ago.
Okay. Well, that's not bad.
No. And actually, it's recording. Okay. It's also recording the meeting.
Okay.
And I thought that was okay too, because that way we'll have it. Let me look at the dashboard, see if it'll let me.
The GoToWebinar should be just like GoToMeeting, shouldn't it?
Well, they set up a little bit differently because up to 2,000 can be on here at one time, so they will automatically mute everyone because you don't. If you're going to do a mass group, you can't have everybody talking at once.
Right.
Okay.
Well, but if we got a dozen, we still want them to be able to ask questions anyway.
Hold on, it's Conrad. Hey, Conrad. No, you do not. I just sent that. Scott needed it, so I just sent it to all of y'all. I know Paul and Scott are attending because Scott's helping me present, and Paul's going to attend for his club. So, no, you don't have to. It's all good. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay. I know. I know. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I appreciate your calling. All right. Uh-huh. Oh, good. Okay. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. Good. I will. I will do that. All right. Talk to you later. All righty. Bye-bye. Okay, Scott, I just see two on right now, just uh, you and me and Kate, and Kate is still muted. She says she's self-muted, so
All right,
I
I'm
don't know
gonna
if she's
send her a note.
returning. Okay. It's not, is it 3 o'clock yet? I wouldn't even watch the time. Is it?
No,
Okay.
no, it's not.
So at this time, we'll start with Scott doing the global grant part first. And then, can y'all see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have y'all can't see the index on the side that I'm having to use. I'll move it. Let me see if I can move it that way. There you go. Okay. All right. Scott Hendricks is going to present the global grants first, and then I'll go through district grants with you. So, Scott, if you're ready to start, it's on the screen. Just tell me when to move it.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Scott Hendrick, Global Grant Chair, and I'm going to talk to you about global grants. And global grants used to be called matching grants for many years. For, I don't know, probably the last 10 years or more at least. They've been matching grants. They were changed, I believe, last year, a year and a half ago, to global grants. But they're still the same thing, and the rules and requirements are have not changed. Okay, so let's talk about the purpose of a global grant. Global grants, as opposed to district grants, which are usually relatively small. Global grants are large, they're long term, they take a lot longer than a district grant usually around a couple of years, depending on the grant. And they have sustainable, measurable outcomes. And you're going to hear the word sustainable multiple times and measurable as well. But these are expectations from RI that are very important if you're going to do a global grant. Global grants are partnerships, international partnerships that are supported by the Rotary Foundation's World Fund Match. And when I say partnerships, it's very important because it's a partnership between an international club and a host club. Okay? And the activities supported are consistent with Rotary's areas of focus. Areas of focus are pretty broad, and it's pretty easy to fit within one of them because they cover just about everything or any type of project that you'd like to do. One of the things we like to emphasize here, though, is that if you look at areas of focus, there's an and in every one of them. So there's really two areas that are covered in each area of focus. And what we have learned is Rotary expects any global grant to address both of these areas. So if you want to do, for example, we do water and sanitation projects. Initially, our matching grants, we were only addressing water. In the last couple of 2 or 3 years, you can't just do a water global grant. You have to do a global grant that deals with water and sanitation. And that's true of all of these areas of focus. So your grant has to be broad enough that it covers both sides of the area of focus. Okay? So if you're interested in doing a global grant, and we really, really encourage all the clubs to consider doing one, the things you need to do is you need to get started with your proposal. Obviously, you've got to have a plan. You've got to have a goal, etc. You've got to understand your funding, those types of things. But the first paperwork you need to do is to go online at matchinggrants.org and fill in the information for a grant. It's not real hard. It's not long, but it will ask you what you're trying to do, who are the clubs, who's the host club, who's the international club, who's your contacts, and how will the grant be funded. You can also put more information on there about the grant and who you're working with and documents and those types of things. But if you're going to do a proposal to the Global Grants, to the Grants District Committee, the first requirement we have is that you get documented on matchinggrants.org. It's pretty self-explanatory and not hard to do. There's lots of them on there. You can look at examples if you don't understand how to do it, but it's pretty straightforward. By the way, if you have a question, just stop me at any point and we'll try to answer it. Back up, Sharon. We didn't finish that page. So if you're going to propose a grant, and particularly if you're asking the district for funds, for district designated funds for your grant, which we highly recommend you do, you have to submit those by August 1st of this year to the grants committee, basically to Sharon. And so you have to have your request on matchinggrants.org, and you have to let Sharon and the committee know that you're going to be requesting DDF funds to support your grant. When the district grant committee will review the request, they'll review all the requests sometime in August when Sharon calls a meeting. And after you have approval and you have DDF approved, then you can start your global grant application with the Rotary Foundation. And again, that's pretty straightforward, although they're going to ask for a lot of information. And the more information you can put in that application, the better, because RI will be pretty demanding about what you're doing, how you're going to do it, how you're going to fund it, and how you're going to be successful. Okay? Okay, Sharon, ready to move forward. Are you? Okay. There are other qualifications required. Your club and our district is in good standing, but your club also has to be in good standing with Rotary International, with the district, 990 reporting, which is an IRS requirement, that you don't have any financial problems outstanding, or you'll have to get those problems or any other issue resolved before the committee will consider approving district designated funds for your grant. And the same thing with RI. They're going to have, if you're not in good standing with Rotary International, they're not going to approve your application. You can't be delinquent. Either your club or our district can't be delinquent on any other global grants, or RI or the district is not going to approve your global grant request. One of the things that the committee takes very seriously is that your club has been a supporter of the annual giving fund to the amount of $100 per member. I won't say that's a hard and fast requirement, but it is something the committee reviews before we grant any DDF to a club for their global grant. And particularly if there's competition for the money and your club is not at this level of support per member, it's going to be a problem. Okay? And as we're doing today, you have to be... And as we're doing today, you have to have certification training on global grants and district grants, and that has to be 2 people from each club. As I said earlier, you start by submitting your request online at matchinggrants.org. And another RI requirement is that the minimum budget is $30,000. All right, sorry, I had to get rid of my dogs. Minimum budget of $30,000 with a minimum of $15,000 and a maximum of $200,000 provided by the Rotary Foundation World Fund. So, for example, to meet that minimum requirement, you have to be asking for a total of $15,000 funding from RI or from TRF. And there's various ways to do that. If you say, for example, are approved for $10,000 DDF, that's matched 100% by the World Fund, meaning that would be $10,000 from the World Fund. And if you had $10,000 in club funds, either your club or other clubs or individuals, that's matched 50%. So that would meet the requirement, the minimum requirement of $15,000 from the Rotary World Fund. Again, you can do that different ways. If you had no DDF, but $30,000 in club funds or individual funds, that would be matched at $15,000, and that would meet that requirement as well. And again, that can go up to a maximum of $200,000 from TRF. And that would be a very, very large grant if that was the case. Okay, any questions on that? All right, Sharon, moving forward. Next page. Okay, one of the things that's critical, both based on our learnings and something that RI is going to expect also, is good stewardship by the people involved in a global grant. The sponsoring clubs, that's a host club and an international club, are responsible for all phases of the project. That's planning, execution, monitoring, and ultimately the success of the grant and meeting all the requirements as required by RI. The funds, both the funds you collect and the funds you receive from RI, have to be kept in a dedicated bank account. Don't make the mistakes of just putting it in a club account, because it will be confusing and it will confuse RI when you try to close out the grant. So what you want to do is to have your club treasurer or the appropriate person set up a dedicated bank account, put your money in there, and when RI sends funds, they will ask you for that account information so they can send it directly to that account. So that shows any money you started with, any money that comes into the account, and that will be needed when you close out the grant. As I said earlier, the grants have to address the areas of focus, and again, there's 2 areas in each area of focus, so it has to address. Now, that doesn't mean you need to do equal amounts of work in both sides. For example, on our grants that we do in Honduras that are water and sanitation, most of our effort goes into the water aspect, providing water filters. On sanitation, we don't build any latrines or things like that. What we do is do training, and that satisfies the requirement for addressing sanitation as well as water. And the other area that you're going to hear about, or anytime we talk about grants, and RI will very strongly focus on, is that long-term sustainability of the project. We've done grants that weren't sustainable. We've made mistakes because we didn't understand what it took to be sustainable, and RI has gotten even tougher on the area of sustainability over the last few years. All right. moving forward. Okay, one requirement is that when you're done, you have to file a final report. And the requirement for the final report is usually is 1 year after you receive funding. When you start on the grant, you got to go through the district committee, you got to go through matchinggrants.org, you've got to satisfy your requirements for the application. And when that's all done, then you send in your money to RI, and they'll send the total amount back. 1 year after you receive those fundings into your dedicated bank account is when RI will ask for the final report. They're expecting you to get that grant done within a year of the time you receive money. However, that's not always the case. If you cannot get it done in a year, within a year, you need to file an interim report, which is really easy. And you simply explain why you're not able to do it in a year, and they'll extend you another year or more time in which to get the grant done. The report has to measure success of the project and account for all your expenditures. And if you have this dedicated bank account, all you have to do is send in the bank statements for each month that there have been transactions in the bank account. And that will show RI any money that you've sent from the account. And then also in the final report, you have to account for how the money was spent. You don't, on the final report, you don't have to send in receipts, although it's helpful if you do. You just have to list how the money was spent. But if RI has any problem or TRF has any problem, they may ask you for a receipt. And those have to be kept for a minimum of 5 years. And if TRF wants to see them, they're going to want to audit your account and your receipts. Again, if you do a good job of stewarding the money, your bank account, and accounting for where the money went, you're very unlikely that you're going to be asked for receipts or be audited by TRF. Okay? Now, global grants fall into 3 categories: humanitarian projects, which is the vast majority of these projects, and these are typically projects that go into the 6 areas of focus. One forward, sure. Scholarships for graduate level academic scholars. These are formerly called ambassadorial scholars. Now they're called global scholars. And we typically do a couple of these in our district every year. And then also what are called BTP. And that takes an application as well. If you want to go somewhere and do training, learn about what's being done, or train people for opportunities for learning in other countries or in the United States. But the vast majority are humanitarian. Now, this is an example. This is a grant that I just finished, and hitting some of the important points is that it's a partnership between clubs. Our work is in Honduras, so our host club is the Rotary Club of Roatan, and we work with them, and I'm a member of the Arlington Club, and those are the 2 main partners in a grant like this one. We did water filters in remote areas of Honduras. And as I said, we met the requirement for sanitation by doing extensive training on hygiene. As a matter of fact, in every village where we put in filters, we had a total of 6 training sessions in each of these villages to make sure we covered all the people in the villages and that we covered this issue of sanitation thoroughly. We also include an anti-parasitic drug because one of the problems there is that people get parasites such as tapeworms. And if you have tapeworms or parasites, clean water is not going to solve it. You have to take a drug for it. So this is the highlights of a grant that we just completed, just filed the final report on water and sanitation in Honduras. Okay. Global scholarships, our district has done many of them and have had some very good success, and some of our scholars, some outstanding kids, young people. We typically do 2 every year. Conrad Heath out of Grapevine is the chair for Global Scholars, and he's got a lot of experience. He can provide any help you need to make sure that you can do this correctly.
Oh my goodness, I'm good. Thank you. They're just saltines, aren't they?
Okay, and Conrad can provide you brochures and data on Global Scholars, or you can go to the RI website and learn more about Global Scholars. Okay. So here's lessons learned, what I call lessons learned, and we learned it mostly the hard way because it either killed a grant or caused the grant to take a lot longer than it should have to get it approved or to get it done. First, you've got to be clear and realistic about what you're trying to do. You've got to understand where you're working, who you're working with, and that you have a very realistic objectives. And again, a lot of people have good intentions, but you've got to understand exactly what you're trying to achieve and know that you have the resources and the relationships to get it done. We've got good resources in our district. We've done several global grants. We've made our mistakes. There are good people in the district that understand what it takes to do one. So if you're thinking about one, you need to talk to me or other people in the district that have experience to avoid making mistakes. You've got to have a good relationship with the host club and the area in which you're going to work. If you don't have a relationship, if you don't have partners there that you know, trust, and have experience with, it's going to be very hard to successfully pull off a global grant. So if you're thinking about doing one, you need to work on the relationship with the people in that area, or you're going to have a tough time getting a global grant approved or to make it successful. You're probably going to need capable partners in the area, depending on what you're doing. But you need contractors, the health department, local authorities. Over years that we worked in Honduras, we've developed relationships with contractors that help us with our work, the local health department, the local authorities like the now the governor and the mayor of the municipality. And those are critical if you're going to get things done. Because when you're having a problem, you got to have somebody you can call up and talk to about getting it resolved. It's not easy to get on a plane and head down to wherever you're working and get things resolved. You got to have people there that you can trust and depend on. You need to understand other global grants and what's happened and why they've been successful, why they're not successful. And then finally, as I said more than once, you've got to be broad in what you're doing, address both avenues of the area of focus, and you've got to define, understand, and convince RI that your project will be sustainable. Okay. I think that's the end, Sharon. If you have any questions, contact me. That's my email's there, or Sharon or Paul, people that are knowledgeable about global grants. And like I said, we've made lots of mistakes, so we know a lot of things you shouldn't do and a lot of things you should do. Finally, if you really think you've got the ingredients to do a global grant, it is an extremely rewarding activity for you and your club. And you can achieve some fantastic results that really make a difference, really impact thousands of people in some cases positively around the world.
Okay, I think I have everybody unmuted, or they can unmute themselves. Does anybody have any questions of Scott regarding global grants? Now is the time to ask.
Not here, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Scott said the deadline was August 1st, and I thought I might have seen an email recently where the deadline had been moved up. Is it still August 1st?
The email
Sharon?
I sent an email out that I got today about Pastoral Scholars is due August 1st. Also, that's moved up from what it was. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, I thought I saw something that said July 20th, and so
Oh, that is on district grants, Paul.
okay,
It's
so
on
the
district.
deadline for district grants is earlier. Okay.
Well, the deadline to get their form into me is earlier. Yes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move to district grants then. What am I doing? Slideshow. Okay, we're just going to learn how to write a successful grant, do a successful application, and then how to submit the application online. The characteristics of a district grant is that it is administered by the district. It is for a short-term service project that must be started after July 1 and end before June 30th. We prefer that it be end at the end of April, early May, so we have time for all the documentation to be collected so you can send in and actually close out the grant. So it has to be conducted, the project has to be conducted during the Rotary year. And it has to address an immediate need either in your community or it can be also something that's abroad. We have a little bit of both of those in our district. These can be service projects like dictionaries or building ramps for housing or playground equipment for a school. It can be scholarships, and we'll talk about scholarships in a few minutes. There's some caveats to that we really want to pay attention to. Vocational training, if you want to send a vocational training team to Honduras to train the natives there to do some kind of hand washing or hygiene, you can do that. You can pay for the team to come out of those funds. And also youth services. You can use this money also for your RILA students. So, or any kind of youth program to support your Interact. If you have an Interact club, you can use the money for that. So you can use for all kinds of things in the service realm, in the youth realm. The clubs must be qualified. So first, that means all their dues have to be paid and current. And I will tell you that this year we had a couple that asked for their money and they had never paid their dues, so we withheld funds until they paid their dues. You have to have a 990 filing that is current. So that would be 2017 is the most current one that should have been filed, I believe. So we go by the November filing date. So yes, you do have to file a new one every year. Grant management seminar has to be attended by 2 people in your club, because when I'm trying, like I am right now, to get these clubs to close out their grants, I need maybe more than one person to contact because sometimes people don't respond. So I try to go to the people that applied who actually filled out the grant online. Then I move to the second person, or second person is certified, or then I'll move to the club president if they're different. So the main reason for that is to be sure we have people that will respond and get the stuff done we need to get done. There's a memorandum of understanding that has some addendums that must be completed and signed. I have made it into a fillable form this year, so all you have to do is download the PDF and fill it out and email it back, and you can either upload it yourself or send it to me and I'll upload it for you to your website. If you have not filed if your 990 is not there and your MOU is not in your application, if it's not loaded up, we won't consider your grant in August. So please do that. That's something you can be doing right now. It needs to be signed by the president and the president-elect. So that would be those of you that are currently president-elects, you will be the president, and then your PN will be the president-elect. So that's for your year. It's not the current president. It's the new ones coming in for 18-19. Any questions at this point? I feel like I'm talking fast. Strongly recommend that every club have a foundation chairman. I know sometimes that's difficult for someone to take that on, but we certainly will help in supporting them and educating them. And I think clubs that have foundation chairmen have a better chance of learning about the foundation, certainly a better promotion of it in their club, and also someone that will kind of monitor the grants. These grants do not have to support the 6 areas of focus, so even though almost all of them do. So if it's something your community feels is important, or something you want to do for a country abroad, it doesn't have to support the areas of focus. The application has been open since PETS. You can apply anytime. It will only take the applications online. And you should have received a pledge sheet that this our new governor that's coming in is changing the way we're doing things, and we're going to try this year and see how this works. But he has determined a minimum allocation for each club based on what they gave to Rotary International 3 years ago. And if you weren't in existence 3 years ago, then he is coming up with an amount that he's getting those particular clubs. But most clubs do have a history, and that shows what their history of giving is. So he determined a minimum allocation. That pledge sheet, or any of you, some of you online are presidents, did y'all get the pledge sheets just recently, like in the last week from Gerald? Anybody get those? Because he's supposed to be sending those out with the form. No? Okay. When you get the, Anybody got them? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes? No? Okay. All right. When you get the forms, they'll be and I'll show it to you in just a few minutes. I'll show you what it says. I'll come back to that. I've got some things I've got to show you, some documents. I will show you all the documents we'll be using. Applications are accepted until August 1st, and then I will have a foundation committee meeting the first week in August, and we will go through all of those applications to see which ones we can approve and which ones for whatever reasons, can't approve. And we will notify you so you'll know. If there's any money left, we will do a second round of awards on October 1st. If there's still money left, we'll do another round in January. That's typically what we've done in the past. Since we're allocating it a little bit different this year, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll see. I'm going to show you the matching grants page live in a few minutes, but I really want you to pay attention when you go in and you want to submit a project. It's got a little sign that says you log in, or you just go to the matchinggrants.org site, and then you'll say, I want to submit a project. So you'll click here, and then you'll start filling out this page. Be sure that this red circle is around the year. Be sure to click on that. It'll have a drop-down menu that you're entering a grant for the 18-19 year. And you can check an area of focus that'll apply. Almost always there's something there you can do, and then you can just fill it out. It's very easy to fill out, very intuitive. If you want once you've started your project, you can ask for your funds at any point in time. If you need them to start the project, or if you've already started it, you want to be reimbursed for your expenses, or if you're in the middle of it, just send me an email saying we're ready for our funds. People always ask, how do I get my money? Just send me an email and say we're ready for our funds. And as soon as I get that, I'll fill out a voucher and get the check sent to the address that you put on the grant website. So if you put it's your personal home address, the check's going to go to your house. All checks are made out to your club, but the address I use is what you put in when you do your application. And we make payments anytime from August to April. And we have to go into May on some of them. All the reporting is done online also. I'll send you a grants checklist. I'll show that to you in a minute. Please pay attention to it because it tells you exactly what you need to upload on the website. Rotary tells us you should submit your final report 30 days after you complete your project. I will tell you today, I am still contacting clubs that finished their projects in August and September and got their money then, and they still haven't sent their paperwork in. So please, please, please encourage your clubs to get their stuff done ASAP. Your report needs to include the final report form, receipts, canceled checks, bank statements, letters from nonprofits for the total projects, and really be nice if we had pictures of the projects because we go back and use those for promotion.
And just to differentiate, this final report is not the same as a final report for a global grant.
That's correct. That's correct.
Requirement. The global grant is an RI requirement.
Yeah, and this is on the checklist I'll give you, but it's just, we need the final report form, and that's something, it's on the website, but I can also send it to you if you can't find it, just let me know. a list of all the money spent with their date purchase, a check number, blah, 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 a copy of all canceled checks and bank statements showing the checks actually cleared, because we've had some clubs that wrote checks and they never really paid the bill. They had a copy of the check, but they never paid the bill. And so we need the bank statement to show they actually made the payment to who they said they were going to make it to, and copies of all your invoices on them. If you're using another nonprofit, if you're going to do something for a food pantry, you just might want to, and you're just going to write a check to them to buy food for the pantry, then all you really need, you don't need a receipt from them. You just need a letter from that nonprofit saying on their letterhead that the Rotary Club of blah blah gave $5,000 on this date for this purpose. And that's all I need is a letter of verification from them that they actually got a check. And then I will be looking for a copy of the check that you wrote to them and that it actually cleared on the bank statement. I have to follow the money trail all the way through because district's responsible now. Rotary doesn't check these. If they ever call for an audit, they have to cough all this stuff up. So I'm pretty tenacious about getting this collected from you guys. Scholarship monies cannot be written to individual students. You can make an arrangement with the college or give it to the high school they're graduating from and say, I'm going to give this, here's our money for our scholarships, but we may pick them, but you're going to issue the check to them out of this fund. And because you can't write the checks to them individual students. You said this is after invoices. Remember, no project is to benefit any Rotary Club or Rotarian. So if a Rotarian says he's a member of, he wants a building built in his backyard, he's going to store your materials in it. Number one, we can't do that because it benefits the Rotary Club and it also might benefit the Rotarian. So be very careful of what you're giving your money to. And I know a lot of Rotarians that are on boards, on our Rotary boards, also serve on Boys and Girls Club board or some other agency's board, and they may promote their project. They cannot vote on that project. So be sure whoever's deciding whoever picks that project, be sure number one, the club is aware of it, the club makes a decision, and that no one in your club is going to benefit from it. Because we've had clubs we've had grants submitted that the club had no knowledge was submitted. And the president certainly needs to know it, and the board actually should probably approve them. That way everybody knows, because once you submit it, you're accountable for those matching funds. You've got to cough them up. So it's really important. The retaining of documents for this grant, we use our matchinggrants.org website. It retains all of our records for the period required by law. So that's why we hound you so much about getting the documents up on the website. Or send them to me and I'll upload them for you, but we need to get them up there because that is our document retention system. Okay, jump in. Oh, that's it. Okay. I'm going to move now to the actual website. Well, maybe I'll want to do something different. Let me go down to our grants. I'm going to show you some of the forms. We have our checklist. I'm going to show you last year's. It hasn't changed, but I'm going to, I may have the other one. Oops. Okay, this is what the checklist looks like. It tells you everything you're supposed to do. The reason this is highlighted because I probably sent it to someone and they did a scholarship, and so I wanted them to understand what I needed from them. I didn't need all this other stuff, but I did need the things I've highlighted. But you'll get a blank one. And I'll send it out at the first of the year. Whatever you tell me you want your money, I'll send you this form so you'll know what I'm expecting at the end, so I have everything collected from you. So that's the checklist form. Get out of here. The final report form. I swear. Final report form is very straightforward. All you do is copy and paste exactly what you typed on your matchinggrants.org, what your project was. Copy it and paste it right there. It's not going to change. The title of your project should be exactly what you put on your website, and your project number will be on the website. The rest of this is pretty straightforward and pretty simple. You don't have to write me an essay. Just write 2 examples. We ordered the dictionaries. We put labels in the dictionaries. We had a meeting where we put all the labels in dictionaries. We went out and distributed the dictionaries, whatever. Just two things here. Very, very clear, concise. The most important thing on this sheet is that whatever you put for the income has to match the expenditures. So up here you'll put the amount you received from the district, the amount you matched it with, and some of you might put 15,000 in. We're only going to put 1,200 in, if that's what we set our goal at. And then down here you'll list like so-and-so's food bank, and you'll write the check that you gave them right there, as long as those two have to balance though. So that's your final report form, and that's on the website, but again, if you need it, let me know and I'll get it to you. The MOU, this is a fillable form we just did for this year. I've got to clean, well, I've actually changing it for next year, but if you'll notice, most of it is a lot of stuff you have to read, just saying you're going to be compliant, you're going to use good stewardship, and then you'll type your club in here, the name of the people that signed it, and these are all fillable, so I'll send this form, it's already on the website, but I'll put a new one up for your year where you can type your information in and get that loaded up. And I may have already changed this one, I'll look and see. You don't need the reimbursement, you need the final report. I think that's all you know. The global, I have the grant highlights, I'll send those out to you. You may need those. I don't think you need them, but maybe. Okay, I'm going to go to matchinggrants.org now and let you look at this site. If you haven't done them, I think most of your districts have done. Those of you that are on the phone have done these before. I know Bill has. I know several of you have, but I'll go there anyway. I know Alito has. Okay, this is the site you go to, is matchinggrants.org. If you're doing a global grant, you'll enter it over here. You'll click and enter it here. If you're doing a district grant, you'll click and enter it over here. Got to go to my account. Then you're going to submit here. I'll turn that off. I don't know if I want to do this. Oh my gosh, no, stop. Just a minute. Be sure when you go right here, before you submit, you'll need to go here and change to 1819. I've already seen some clubs have already entered and they didn't do that, so I've got to go back and fix those. Your title will be here, your country, your location, what you're doing, check this, select your activity type. It lets you pick what you want it to be, and there's a ton of them there. And then just type in what you want it to be. At the bottom, you'll put your budget in, your total DDF you're asking for. Ours will match whatever you put in there. The contact phone number is your contact number. Checks will be payable to the club. Be sure to put the club's name in there. The address you want the check mailed to really needs to go here, because that's where I mail the check to. So whatever you put there, if people are looking for the check, that's where it's going to be. And I'll send you a copy of the voucher when I do it, so you'll see who it's addressed to, so you'll know who should be getting the check. And then you save your project. Okay. Let me go to one. You can see on Louisville Morning, it'll show me who to contact on here. This is the financing, their DDF. He's uploaded a project, but he hadn't uploaded his this is for next year, I'm assuming. His 990 or his MOU is not here, and certainly no photos yet. And there's a history log that tells us who went in and did what on there. So sometimes I'll communicate to you through this, because it sends you an email directly to whoever put this grant in. But it also tracks what's going on with your grant. Once the grant is signed, it's very difficult to change it. So be sure that you got it exactly like you want it before we sign it, because you have to start over if you don't. So, have I totally confused everybody? I hope not. Okay, do you have any particular questions or anything on your mind? Please ask me. I got it all? Hey.
Hey, Sharon.
Uh-huh.
show us where the final report is, and it's in the documents, or where is it?
It should be on the front page of the website under downloads. For this year or for next year?
This year.
This year. It should be in the same place, but I'll check and be sure. If not, I'll send you a copy. I can send it to you.
On the 5790 district.
Yeah. Let me see if it's there. I can look
Oh,
right
the
quick.
main site. Okay.
Let me look right quick.
Grants.
I was looking into the grant page.
Oh, no. It'll be on the homepage of the district, and it's so cluttered up right now. I don't know. I'm going to scroll. Let me look right quick, scroll and see if it's down here. I know I loaded up 1819 at the very, it's kind of just got so much junk on here. Ugh. All right, district links, site pages.
We used to have links across the top up there. We don't. They've gone away.
Oh, Paul, I can't begin to tell you. I mean, honestly, I can't.
Right at the very top. Okay, hit foundation.
They have it, but
hit foundation at the very top and see if it's up there.
No, I had it on the front page, so they wouldn't have to go do
okay.
that. That's why I moved it there, but it looks like, I don't know what. Here we go. Homepage. Okay, let me look a minute. Conference celebration. Da, da, da. Okay, here's the 1670. I'll take those off for sure. I thought I put those up here, but who knows? I see 1617, but I put 1718 up here. Is 1718? Yeah. Okay, I don't sit there. Let me go to foundation page like Paul said. I try to put them on the front page because it's just a little bit easier, but what do I know? Okay, 1819 grant guidelines, the final reports for 18, and grant checklist for 18. This is all for the new year.
Oh, okay. Can you send me then last year so I can finalize our grant?
You know what? I'll just load them up here. Let me look at this right quick and see what this looks like. Well, doesn't want to. Yeah, it's the same thing. Okay, I will load them up in a few minutes, then it'll be there. So go to foundation, go to district grants, and I'll put it over here under files, okay?
Okay, perfect.
Would that work for you?
Yep, that'll be great.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you. I'm glad you asked. Any other questions from anybody else?
And will you just clarify that it is August 1st, because I'm getting confused with this July 20th date.
The July 20th, that's what I was going to show you, that pledge sheet. Y'all should have gotten this, but where would it be? Spend too much time on this. I just had the form up there now. I can't find it. Let me look a minute. I think it's here. Okay, this is the form you should have gotten. You're supposed to have gotten this week. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe our president did.
That's who should have gotten it. But we gave it out at PETS, and then we worked on this form a little bit more because he wanted to look at your district and global grants both. But this numbers, he will have filled in this number based on what your club gave 3 years ago, so what you gave in 2015. And it may be $80, but you can ask for $500 if you want to. I can't guarantee that we'll give that because if everybody asks for what they minimum guarantee, there won't be any extra money. So I'm not sure what everybody, this is the first time we've done it this way, so I have no idea how that's going to turn out. But
So we can ask for what we've given?
you can ask,
Is that what you're saying?
you will at, the minimum is what you've given in the past. So if you,
Okay.
that's what the minimum
And
is.
it's a percentage based on what the Rotary gives back in the way of DDF, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's usually 50% of what you gave 3 years ago.
Okay.
I can kind of give you an idea. I don't know if you can see, it's like, can you see Alito on here? Alito gave zero money 3 years ago. You weren't in existence 3 years ago, or you just had barely started. So Gerald probably will have to allocate you some funds there. Let me look at Fort Worth South. They'll get 1125 as their minimum guarantee. That's the minimum amount they can get for a grant. For this is district, this is global. The first column is, first number is district grant. The other column is global. So you have some options on what to do with those. And let me just look at that form again with you. Some clubs are going to be writing their own district grant and will match the amount with the club funds. So they're going to write their own district grant and matching it with their own club funds. I don't know what that means. Then the other one says you're going to give your global grant money, a portion of your global grant money, district money, to the Guatemala projects. So if you don't have very much, you don't want to use it, you can give all of it to Guatemala projects that Mr. Robinson's promoting. Your club will be writing your own global grant, or you may want to contribute to a different global grant. And if you may want to say, you know what, Guatemala's fine, but I want to give mine to the Honduras project, or I want to give mine to the Costa Rica project, or the Dominican Republic project. So Vision Up project, wherever you want to give it to. But anyway, you can put in here, I want to give my money for this other grant. And or you can just say, we're not going to use our global money. We're going to give it back to the grant committee, the district, the whole committee for the district, and let them use it appropriately for another project. So you have choices on how you want to use your money. These are guaranteed amounts for 18-19 only. District money may be added to global money. So if you got 1,200 district and 1,200 global, you can put it together for a global grant, but you cannot put the global money with district money for a district grant. You can't commingle global money with district money, and that's stated on here. And you can partner by dedicating your projects to one project sponsored by multiple clubs. So if you have like Scott, your Arlington project, it's not really the Arlington project, but Arlington is the primary person that does the Honduras project, but several clubs in our district contribute to that. So if you want to give to a larger project that is involved with several clubs, you can do that. And this letter is what's due by July the 20th. That's why you really need to be talking to your board and your especially your board and your club about what do y'all want to do this year with your funds. I expect to have a lot of questions about this. Anyway, y'all should be getting this, or should have gotten this via email. I think he sent this out with more instructions the other day. Questions, thoughts? Please speak up. Let me know what you're thinking.
I think it sounds good.
Okay.
No problems.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Yes, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? If not, I'm going to let you guys go. Number one, thank you so much for participating. I think I have, it shows 12 attendees, counting me. So I think I have everybody's name on the list, and I've put them in their spot, I think. So I think we're good. Give you credit. Thank you so much for attending today. I hope that was helpful for you. And good luck with your grants this year. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to call Scott or myself. or me or whoever. I think we can help you, but we'll get you to who can help you if we can't.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Good
thank
job.
you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's enough.